Guys, I'm so out of the swing of things. Like, these 2 weeks have screwed me up because my wife has been home, and so she's not at work, and I've taken full advantage of that. And so, like, I'm in the shop all the time. I'm in my office all the time. I don't have to be a chauffeur for little children. And it's been so nice. And I don't think tomorrow's gonna go well for me. I think it's gonna be a rude awakening and be like, I'll wake up at 5. Gosh dang it, you know. So
back to reality.
Yep.
Maybe you'll actually text us back.
No chance. No chance.
Are you still sticking to the 5 a.m. thing? Did you kind of give it up the last couple of weeks? But you're back on it?
No, I gave it up for the last couple of weeks. I mean, my wife's home, so I get to sleep in a little bit. And yeah, so, but when she goes back to work, I have to wake up early because then it gets me 2 hours of work in before she leaves. And so that gets me kind of a kickstart to the day. Right. And so if I don't do that, I'm screwed. So I'm definitely going to be going back to that. We'll see how tomorrow goes. I might be waking up at 6 and getting maybe an hour of work in, but, yeah. Happy New Year's, by the way. 2021.
Happy New Year.
It's
we made it.
Yeah, we made it through, and it's gonna get crazier. You know, it's a pretty low bar for 2021. You know?
Right.
So just don't completely F it up 2021, and we'll be happy, all of us.
Yeah.
I'm just so confused about everybody. Like, oh, I can't wait for 2021. I'm like, nothing's changed. If anything, it's gotten worse. So the pessimist in me comes out.
Yep. They're like, once 2020 is over.
I'm thinking
back
like
to normal.
next year we'll be back to normal, not this year.
Maybe. This may be the new normal, everybody. Mask forever. But
well, does anybody do the resolution thing? You know, New Year's resolutions? I don't really do a resolution thing. I just
that's stupid.
Try to decide to do better, but
that's just something that you're gonna let yourself down with after a month.
So I usually
way to be optimistic, Brandon.
Let's be realistic. It's in statistics with gyms. Like all their memberships shoot way up in January, February, March. It starts getting warmer. It was like, I'm done with this.
Yeah. I saw a meme. Somebody tweeted out. They're like, "Hey, shout out to those people that made New Year's resolutions, and then on Saturday they kicked it back to Monday because they just weren't up for it." And I'm like, that's actually true. It's like, hey, I'm gonna start going to the gym, but it's the weekend, so Monday.
It's like we're gonna do this Monday. We're gonna do this Monday.
Really,
California, they could be like, well, whenever they open back up, I'm gonna go.
That's right.
They're all closed.
Now, Jesse, you mentioned earlier you're going to a gym. Now, am I mistaken? At one point, you were building a home gym.
Me?
Didn't you have a home gym at one time?
This was the home gym. This office.
Gotcha.
So it's filled with alcohol and couches.
That's right.
With the opposite of a gym.
Leather couches, a TV. It's fantastic. No, this used to be the home gym, but then when I started working from home, I just couldn't. My wife hated it because I had all my iPads and like my phone, everything set up on the kitchen island, and she'd come home just pissed. She'd be like, I just cleaned that this morning. I'm like, I have nowhere to work. And so when I went to Vegas for a weekend for a UFC fight, I came back and she had cleaned this whole thing out, which we were using for the gym/storage. And she cleaned it all out and she started painting it and redoing the whole thing. And so it was pretty awesome. So I already had basically she got this desk, she got that couch, she bought everything. It was all pretty much set up. So It's been great though.
Yeah. I'd say that was pretty awesome. You went to Vegas with a guy's trip to watch a UFC fight, and your wife did work on your office for you.
Yeah, she's married, boys, so everyone calm down. She's awesome. She's great. So, but so I go to the gym with my son. It's a martial arts gym, so he goes to jiu-jitsu. We wanted to get him into something because he's so timid. You know, I think we've talked about it on here. He's just a really timid kid. So.
When you said gym, I was thinking like traditional gym. I didn't know that's what you were pertaining to.
No, because we have like at that gym they have like weightlifting stuff and things like that. So I'm the father. I always said to myself, I should have known. I've always said to myself, I'm not going to be that parent that starts yelling at their kid from the side, like, you know, like at Little League and stuff.
I'm that guy.
I know you are. I had no doubt. I had no doubt you're that guy. But I always told myself, I was like, I'm not going to get crazy, okay? And I don't think I ever got to that point where I'm crazy even yet, but like I still I get he focuses on me like too much if I start saying things, and I'm like, I gotta just leave him alone, let the coaches, the teachers, everything. I just gotta go. So I go lift weights in the other room because it's a pretty decent sized gym. So I just go lift weights while he's doing that, and then when he's done, I do my class. But I usually try to step away and just let him do it, and it seems to help, I think. But he's so distracted, man. Like everyone's lined up against the wall, they're showing off the moves they're doing, the rolling, and everyone's like staring, and there's always like 3 kids. My son's always one of the 3 kids. It's like looking around and just looking. He's like untying his belt and then trying to figure out how to
baseball's equivalent of playing in the dirt.
Yes, or like trying to catch a butterfly. It's the same thing. Exactly. So he'll get there hopefully. I think he's getting a little better. But yeah, that's what I meant when I was saying gym.
Well, my kid plays hockey, so it's a little bit, I say that I'm that guy. I yell from the side of the rink, but he's out there on the ice rink. I can't get to him. And most of the time, those little turds, they celebrate that. And they just look at you like, you're an idiot. I don't care what you say. You can't come out here.
Yeah, that's right. They're like, put on some skates, Dad. You want to come out here?
It's not like on the baseball field, you see that dad like go out in the field, snatch their kid up and be like, you got to get it together. No, there's none of that in hockey. I can just yell like an idiot on the side.
Mm-hmm. I remember one of the most pivotal like points. You have very few like times in your childhood where you like remember like, yeah, I remember this very vividly. Well, I remember I was a pretty good basketball player when I was like little. Like I was always one of the top 2 players on our team, and my mom was always one of the coaches. This year she actually wasn't one of our coaches, but I was playing, I rolled my ankle, and when I was little, and I'd like to say I grew out of it, but I don't know, I was always a little baby. Like if I got hurt, I overreacted to everything. I think that happened to be because I was the youngest. So if you overreact, the older kids get in trouble, and you can get out of whatever situation you were in. Like if you're getting beat up, like they would start beating me up, and I'd just start acting like I was choking. I'm like, oh. I would just start doing that, and then my mom would yell from the other room, "Stop choking him! Stop choking him!" And they're like, "We're not choking him," and I'm like, oh, like acting like I'm choking. And so anyway, I rolled my ankle during this basketball game. I think I was like 7. Rolled my ankle. It was not that like bad at all, and like I'm crying, and I'm sitting on the side, and they're like, okay, we'll get you an ice pack. They give me an ice pack, and so I'm like sitting there crying with the ice pack. I see my dad. I'm looking at my dad. He's staring at me. He's just like glaring at me, and I'm like looking at him, and then he gets up, walks down the bleachers, walks around the court, and walks to me, and I'm just like staring at him, and he gets to me, and he just goes, "Take the ice pack off your ankle, go back in." And I was like, okay. And I like, put it down, and like the next 2 plays I go back in, and I was fine. And it was like, that's like a pivotal point. And I was like, I gotta stop being a baby. But like there was something I remember even today. I was like 7. I was like, oh, my dad walking down those steps, how scared I was. I was like, oh God, he's gonna
I think you were better suited for soccer doing that kind of crap.
I know. But how was your guys' holidays? Brandon, how was yours?
Laid back. Didn't do a whole lot.
You had like 3 weeks off, man.
10 days off. Let's be realistic.
It's basically 3 weeks.
I'm going to go back to work tomorrow, and I wouldn't call them off. My mom was like, you need to go back to work so you can rest. I'm like, right? Yeah. So it's so much. It was ridiculous. I had to like literally yesterday, I thought I was getting sick because I was just so like sore and tired because I cleaned up the whole property, and I was just moving like rocks and cement, and like, dude, it was a ton of work. And my legs are sore from bending over. And dude, I filled up 2 40-yard dumpsters. I don't know how.
Did you rent that Bobcat? Or?
Yeah. They're real awesome. They're real cheap. $500 a day.
Oh, dang, dude.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
Where'd you rent it from? Like a actual store or something?
Yeah, a rental place here.
See, I found mine I rented, when I did my driveway, I rented one for $250.
Well, it was only going to be. The problem was I was going to get the one size smaller, and it was like $300 a day or something, but it was still, and it was the track one, not the wheel one, because there was tons of screws and nails out there. I didn't want to poke a hole in the tire and have to pay for that. Yeah. So I got the track one, and then it wasn't available, so I had to get the bigger one, and then I needed the clamshell 4-in-1 bucket deal and that was another $100. So it ended up being like just under $500 for the day, which I was only supposed to have for one day. And then and snowballed, and I ended up having to get a whole nother dumpster and use it for 2 days. And it was just a nightmare. I don't know how the hell I ended up with 2 40-yard dumpsters full of crap at my house, but I did.
Dude,
it's ridiculous.
Well, that was impressive,
dude.
Yeah.
Well, about half of it, I would say, is from the previous owner, and I didn't realize it was there until after I'd lived here for a while. I thought it was just leaves piled up because there was leaves on top. But when I moved the leaves, it was roofing, like the whole house worth of roofing just piled and decomposing. Well,
I thought that was
apart.
Roofing from your latest project.
No,
you just
I did too.
It.
No, that was super old, like from a long time ago or something. They just literally piled between 2 trees in a building, and I'm like, cool. Like, it was ridiculous. Yeah, and I got a lot of work done around the house. We redid the laundry room, and I made a headboard for the bedroom, and I'm making these nightstands, and yeah.
Can we get a counter for that? How many times?
I'm on it. I was at 5. I was at 5.
Dog spinning circles.
I was over there doing all my fingers up, counting the circles.
If you're just listening, my dog is in the frame, and he just walked around in his bed about 5-6 times, and then finally laid down. But
after he was already laying down.
He was laying down. He didn't change
been
positions.
Laying there the whole time.
He didn't change positions. He is exactly what he was before.
Exactly where he was. This is my favorite thing. I was watching him earlier. I was like, he's gonna get up and spin in a minute because he does it all the time.
That's gonna be a weekly thing. Every time he just starts it, we're just gonna have a counter up. Every time he
just pops up in the back.
Freaking.
Well, I don't have any resolutions per se, but I do have some goals for the year. Do you guys have goals for the year set?
Yep. I'm a goal person.
Let's hear your checklist, Mullen.
Well, I have a goal to smoke something within, like, basically every 2 months, smoke something new that I've never smoked before.
You're going to need to go to Oregon for that, bud.
Yes. That also, that counts into the smoking meats thing. No, so, like, I actually already started. I smoked for the first time. This sounds really basic, but chicken wings. I never smoked chicken wings before because...
What?
Yeah, well, my dad's always told me, because he smokes quite a bit, and he was like, I can never get the skin right. It always tastes like rubber. It's not as good as charcoal. So I never smoke it. I just do it on charcoal, which he makes amazing wings on the charcoal grill. And so I've always been like, I don't want to taste like rubber chicken and waste a meal. I'll smoke something else. And
That's
then
funny.
We had them in the freezer, and I was like, well, I'll do it. And yeah, they were delicious. But
yeah,
not to interrupt you too much, but when you say wings, I just want to make sure I'm thinking of what you're talking about. Like party wings?
No, they're like the full wings.
Like full wings.
Yeah, full
okay,
wings.
I got
full
you.
wings. Yeah, so we had like 12 of them, and just in a freezer pack, and then I did it. It was good, but I found online after reading a bunch, because I was like, I don't want to have crappy skin, and I was like, okay. And I found out that from the research, that if you actually cook it higher than what it normally is, so like 165 is poultry, cook it to like 180, and that texture will be better, and it won't be so rubbery. And I was like, oh, that's cool. Dude, it was fantastic. It was delicious, super easy to do. Yeah, so that was good. Other goal wise, I think we talked about it on the last podcast, but yeah,
it's been too long.
Yeah, that is true. But I think it's just mostly the same stuff I've been doing, but just upscale it a lot more. I think a lot more YouTube, like consistently. That's something that I've said for years, like last 2-3 years, and I haven't done it. So something I need to focus on for sure this next year. But yeah, that's my biggest thing, is just focus on YouTube and like doubling down on some of the sponsorships that I have and the relationships I have, and really try to keep and curate those as I grow my channel. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
JP.
Can't believe you never did wings before. That's so weird.
I know.
I've done them like 4 or 5 times already.
They're delicious, and but cooking them high. Actually, I didn't realize they jumped. Like as soon as they were like 130 or something like that, and I flipped them. And as soon as I flipped them, put barbecue sauce on them, I was like, they probably have another 15 minutes. Like 7 minutes later, I go out there and they're like 187. So they were actually over, and I was like, oh dang. And so I took them all off, but they were still super juicy, super good.
I guess I lied because I've never actually done the full wings. I do the party wings.
The party wings. Party wings are good too. I love those.
But the only problem is like the wing portion of it, not the drumette or whatever they call that part. Like they cook slower because they're bigger. And so when I was checking temps, I was at like 140 on the drumettes, and the wings were at like 170, and I'm like, oh crap. And I'm like, man, let's leave them on. I kind of like the crispier stuff anyway. What did you do them at, like 350 or?
Yeah, I think it was 375 actually. 375 is what it was. One thing I did find out, our neighbors came over because I said to one 375 and walked away. It was in my shop redoing some bar stools that I'm working on. And when I went back out there, our neighbor came over and she's like, your barbecue's smoking a ton. And I was like, and I was already actually walking out there to check on it, and it was smoking a ton still, and it was like up to 400 degrees. And I was like, well, that's weird. And so I started researching it. I turned it down to like 180 and I kind of burped it for a while, let all the smoke out, the bad smoke. And then I researched it, and what a lot of people say to do is if you're going to do a high temp, get it up to 180 first and let it like settle, because then it will get all that ash out of the tray. But if you immediately go to super high temp, that tray is just going to try to crank it as hot as it can to start the flames, and it won't burn off all that ash. And so you might actually get a lot of bad smoke, and it'll just continuously create bad smoke, and it will actually go a higher temperature than you want. So if you let it settle at 180 and then crank it, you won't have that problem if you are having that issue. But I turned it down, let it burp for a while, let it settle, and then I cranked it, and it was fine. It was just weird.
Mine, whenever I do that, mine smokes a ton up to like 2 whatever, and then it like settles down.
It's normal for it to, Traegers or smokers to smoke a ton at the beginning, but this one was like excessive, and the temperature was way past what I set it at, which was, I've had that happen before, but it was because I didn't clean out the ash, and this was on my other Traeger, which I just didn't vacuum it out, and then I cranked to a high temperature, and actually like all that ash caught fire and stuff. But this one I just vacuumed out like before the beginning of the break, so I don't know.
Yeah. Anyway, JP, I see you already got one of your checklists going. You got 20,000 YouTube subs. What?
Yeah. Just reached 20,000 on that.
Congrats, sir.
Thank you. I put that last video out right at the end of the year. I wanted to get one last video out before the year ended, which, I mean, I think I got it out like 2 days before, I think. Man, it went nuts quick. Right now it's been on, I'm trying to think what day I put it on. I think it's been on 3 days now, and it's at about 20,000 views per day, which has jumped my YouTube up
awesome.
Several thousand subscribers.
That's great.
So all that is awesome. It's just about, I did a video on the method on how I make drawers.
Which was super cool, by the way, that I've never heard of in my life. You need to learn, like, just go to your neighbors and just learn all of his old school stuff that nobody else has heard of. Because the last 2 videos you put out, or whatever, maybe before that, like the one where you did like tips, I was like, I haven't heard of like 3 of those things. And then you're like, oh, my neighbor taught me. I'm like, clearly, you need to start writing stuff down that he tells you.
I mean, he's an old school woodworker that, grew up doing it before Google and YouTube and all that stuff. So he just had to learn it, and he's always got the good tricks. And, he's one of those guys that collected all of the old, Woodcraft magazines? Yeah. And he still has them, like just big stacks of them. And he read a lot of those magazines. He's still the guy he'll still come in the shop every now and then where he made copies of the magazine on a copier, like laid it down and made copies of it. He's like, hey, look, this is check out these plans or this article or
That's
something.
Hilarious. I was going to say where they have like the centerfold fold out plans you can pull out.
So he's very knowledgeable when it comes to stuff like that. And I had noticed I was over at his shop one day, and he was building jewelry boxes probably 4 or 5 years ago. And they were smaller little jewelry boxes, but they had drawers on it. I was like, man, I really like the way you did those drawers. And he's like, yeah, that's called the quarter method. And he's like, let me show you how to do it. And he showed me. And man, I started doing it, and it is amazing. It works only if you're using 1/2 inch ply or 1/2 inch stock to make your drawers. But essentially, when you get the table saw set up, you never have to move the fence or the blade again. You got to use a dado stack, to get that 1/4 inch width on the dado stack, and it's super easy and it's strong, very, very strong. And if you want to, so the way that I make them, basically I just use 1/4-inch plywood for the bottom. But if something I didn't even talk about in the video, if you want to make it for shop furniture or shop drawers or whatever that you need a stronger drawer for, you can actually take 1/2-inch ply, cut it to the same size as you would the bottom, and then in the same manner that I did the front and back, where I put a rabbet by putting it up against the fence and put a rabbet down one edge, you can do that on all 4 edges, and it makes the edges 1/4-inch. It slides into the slots, and then you have a 1/2-inch bottom. Makes it a lot more sturdy, a lot more strong. Cool. So very cool method to be able to, beef those up a little bit if you want them stronger.
That's awesome. That's really cool.
But yeah, that video took off, and I'm really excited about it. It's funny. I hold my breath all the time. I'm looking at my app trying to, I'm like, oh, maybe something will take off. Maybe something will take off. And then something takes off. And then I'm looking at my app and I'm holding my breath going, don't stop, don't stop. Keep going. Cause you every now and then you get those false ones that they'll start to take off and then they'll just stop.
That's how my,
that was a lot of nothing.
My planer sled was like that. It was like, just took off like crazy and got to like 35,000 and literally just shut off like a light switch. And I think, and that was like 2 years ago. And I think now it maybe at 40,000. It's like, what happened? And it got 35 within a week. And then it just like shut off. I'm like, what made that happen? I don't understand.
Now I'm going back and I'm analyzing that video. I'm like, all right, what did I do right on this one?
You made something that pertains to cabinetry.
That's
what it is.
People are interested in it, and it makes you do something that people think is difficult in an easier way, which makes people interested.
And it's different than anything else anybody's seen. Like me, I've seen a ton of YouTube videos on woodworking. I've never even heard of that. So,
and also I edited a little different, and I kept some stuff in there that I usually don't. Like I screwed up and had a safety issue I left a really wide throat plate in my table saw, and I was only using that 1/4-inch wide dado stack. And when I went to make that cut, which is the cut that I put it flat up against the fence and was running it through to make a rabbet, it's not a cut that I make a lot. And honestly, I don't use my dado in a 1/4-inch very much. I usually use it a lot wider. So that throat plate opening was a lot wider than it needed to be, and it made that cut really unsafe. And instead of cutting that out, I just stopped, turned off the saw, and then just kind of told the camera, hey, look, this is bad. I'm afraid that I'm going to get hurt doing it, so I'm going to change this out and stop right now. So I did that on camera, changed it out, and then talked about it for a minute. It was like, when you get into situations like that, it's better to just stop, make it safe, than lose a finger or, have a disaster where, when especially people are making videos, sometimes I think they'll push through a situation just so they don't look like they don't know what they're doing, or they'll stop and cut it out. When I think and I got a lot of comments in that video already about people enjoyed just seeing that realization of a safety issue and then changing it.
I saw somebody commented
that really did good.
And was like, I saw the gap and I was like, oh no. And he's like, I was so glad you changed it out because I noticed it before you started cutting.
Yeah, and I didn't. I'm doing the woodworking and videoing and doing everything else. So I didn't realize that gap was an issue until I started to make that cut.
Right.
And as soon as I started to make the cut, I was like, in my mind, I'm thinking, there's no stabilization for this board on the fence side between the blade and the fence. And I got just a little bit into it and I just stopped because, like I said, that's not a cut I make that often. It's not a throat plate that I use that often. So, while I'm sure everybody else in the camera's going, no, you idiot. And
I honestly didn't know it. Well, I kind of noticed because you got like sorted through the cut and then you kind of stopped. And I was like, uh-oh. Yeah. And then you stopped. I was like, all right, that's good.
But I don't know. Anyway, what I was saying is that I think that added a little more to it as well. So I was really glad that I kept that in there. Really, as I was doing it, I just didn't even think twice about it. I was like, that's part of it. So I'll just leave it in there and we'll keep rolling with it. But yeah, I think I'm gonna start doing that more often now and making sure when I come up in issues like that I actually explain them and don't just cut them out and make the video look perfect, or make the project look perfect. Because a lot of what we do, we're all pretty much amateurs in what we do anyway. So why not show everybody else who's watching our videos or trying to learn that it is always a learning process, and half of what we do is just fixing the crap that we screw up.
Yep.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
just did that yesterday.
What'd you do yesterday or screw up yesterday?
Well, I'm not going to I don't think I'm going to put it. Well, I'm not because I didn't film it, but I'm not going to put it in this video. But I did the exact same thing as I did on that console where I set my blade wrong on my track saw and cut the miters wrong. And then when I glued it up, there was a gap and I had to cut it back apart. But I showed that on the console and I did literally the same thing. I don't know how it happened this time because I checked with the square and everything. It was still off. So
what is the Makita track saw? Is what you're using?
Yeah.
And you're pulling that to a 45, and then somehow when you go to make the cut, it's not a 45.
I guess. I don't know. I think I fixed it last time by like setting it more of an angle or less, whatever it would have been, and then that worked. But this time I just cut it back apart on the table saw and made all my cuts on the table saw at 45.1, which just makes the outside close down a little bit more than the inside. So the inside has like a tiny hair gap, but I mean, it's better than having a gap on the outside. So plus I use dominoes on it, so it's plenty strong.
This episode's sponsor is Mirka. They're the pioneers of dust-free sanding.
I've been using my Mirka for over a year, and they just recently sent us all sanders and vacs, and the change for me was the HEPA vac. It is amazing. No dust, super quiet, and it's very healthy because it literally will take all the dust out of the air. Like nothing escapes. It's pretty crazy, especially if you're using the Abernet paper. Highly recommend it.
So be sure to go follow them on Instagram. It's Mirka_USA. Also go follow them on Facebook, Twitter, and across the platforms. I know that they would truly appreciate it. And do us a favor, shoot them a message. Let them know that we sent you. It always helps us out when you let them know that. So
I think I've decided that the first tool that I buy is going to be a track saw this year. Because I still don't
highly
have
recommend.
One. Yeah.
Also,
I think
would
I'm going to
recommend
get the Festool one. And
well, that's what I was going to say. Definitely, I would say get the bigger Festool one. It's more money, obviously, but dude, we have it at work, and it is a beast. And I've ran into so many situations with my Makita where like you just need that little bit more to cut through a slab or whatever, and that TS75 does like a full 3 inches. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah,
it's a plug-in one, so they don't have cordless ones of that. I don't think.
That was my next question. Is it cordless?
No, it's corded.
Yeah, I don't care if it's cordless necessarily. Like I feel like most of the stuff I do where I'm going to need it, at least this is what I feel like, is going to be in the shop. Or if not, close to the shop where I can use a cord if I need to. But
yeah,
I don't know. I'm excited because I gotta get better with miters, and I know that's gonna help in some cases, even not in Brandon's, but hopefully in the cases that I use them, it'll help a little bit. Because I'll be honest, it's one of the things I hate to do is miter things, and so a lot of the time I just butt joint it and. Use dowels or use screws or whatever it is.
If I wasn't going to do these in a video, I would have 100% butt jointed them.
Yeah.
Like they're just for us. They're just floating nightstands. It's like, it's going to take so much longer.
Well, that's the thing for me too, is just the time constraint. It's like, okay, if I screw this up, it's going to take me so much longer to redo this whole thing.
Yep.
And it's like, I just want to get done with it. And if it, like you said, most of the stuff I do is for me. It's not for other people.
Right.
And I do not care. My wife really doesn't care. She just wants something to look pretty. She's like, it looks like the same on Pinterest, so that's good. And I'm like, yep. So that's usually why. And I think most of what I do is more the DIY stuff anyway, so it kind of fits. But I'd like to challenge myself a little more. Like I'd like to do dovetail drawers, which would be really cool, but not hand cut. But like have the jig set up. Yeah, stuff like that though. Where it's different
the first time you set up that jig, you may rethink that. You start hand cutting.
Well, I have one of those jigs. I don't know if I still have it. It might be at my father-in-law's shop, but I don't know. It seems complicated. I know I've seen people set it up. I've looked it up before, and it's like I think once you get it set up and you actually get through it the first few times, you're like, oh, I got this. But the first time's a pain in the neck. So. What about you?
Anytime I do miters, I do my best to make those cuts on the table saw.
Right.
I just feel like, and I say miters, not like I don't know, not small stuff like trim work. Trim stuff I'm going to do on the miter saw, but when I'm doing like a mantle or floating shelves or whatever, I'd always try to make those cuts on my table saw versus my track saw. Even though I absolutely love my track saw, they just always seem to come out more clean, and I run into less issues with the table saw. I think maybe because you can lock it down better, you can check it, a lot easier and stuff. But I love my track saw though, and I had both the corded and the cordless. But I will say that I've 100% uses the cordless one more, and I use it more because it is cordless. I can't talk. Because it's just sitting there, and I keep batteries in it, and I can grab it and use it. It's just so easy. Yeah. And I know that it sounds so dumb that it's still easy just to plug the damn thing into the wall too. Yeah. Unless you're trying to hit the plugs that are on the wall behind Jesse, and then it's a little bit harder.
Still crooked. Still crooked.
But I don't know why. I use that thing so much more now that I have the cordless one. But either way, it's a must-have in the shop for me. That's for sure.
Yeah.
So I would definitely make that a good purchase.
Brandon, you have not told us what your goals this year are.
Well, after I said that, I realized that we did talk about it last time.
We did, but
yeah. So yeah.
So which ones are you actually going to try to do now?
That's right.
I'm going to go to the gym when it opens. No, I'm never going to work out in my life. No, I'm just going to, I know, neither are Doritos, but I love those. No, I'm going to definitely focus on YouTube mostly. And just really like you said, with the brands that I am working with, try to double down on that. Cause I've talked to people that are in our space and they're like, it's okay to like jump around from brand to brand, I'm like, I guess, but I'd rather it just be a continuous partnership for like from now on, so it's not obvious to people like, oh, he just had a whole shop full of this and now he's got a whole shop full of that, instead of just keeping it continuous. It's just so much easier. So I'm just trying to work with them, a few different brands, just trying to, make those relationships better over time and bring more value to them, and just make my channel better, more engaging as well, more videos. Like I was telling you guys today, like the shop projects are just always top of the list. So I'm maybe thinking about leaning into that. I don't know. I'm still kind of on the fence with what type of content I want to do, because I'd like to just do stuff that I want to build, but I don't know if that's going to resonate very well. And then I know people say, oh, don't worry about it, just do what you want. But then, there's like, it's always a struggle trying to figure out. Yeah,
it's balancing everything. Because I agree. For me, I mostly just build what I want. Like my most recent build, I guess this week, is making wooden weapons or toys for my kids, which I'm super pumped about, and they love them. But
that clip you sent was amazing.
I was not pumped about that build at all until you sent that clip, and I was like, no, I'm super pumped to see it.
Dude, your daughter looks like a savage.
Yeah, she's
I cannot wait for you
crazy.
To put that
She
out.
looked like she's gonna kick your son's ass for sure.
Oh, I know. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah. I sent them a little preview, and I think when this podcast comes out, it'll be about the same time I release the clip for the collaboration with convenient Viking Coffee, which is an awesome coffee company. Anyway, I'm making them like Viking weapons, shields, and all this stuff, and my wife like made them costumes, and dude, they were outside. It was freaking snowing. Like in the little clips I was showing you, dude, it was like legit snowing, so it was like perfect. They're like running around hitting their freaking shields, and dude, it was so fun.
That's hilarious.
It was a blast. But like, it was funny the first time I sent it to you. This is the reaction I know I'm gonna get when I post this. I'm gonna get like a bunch of, or a portion of people. They're gonna be like, that seems dangerous. Some kid's gonna get hurt. I'm like, listen,
I don't think you'll get that.
Well, Brandon, that's what you said when I sent it. You're like, well, that doesn't seem dangerous, like sarcastically. I'm like, well, and then I was like,
joke.
Yeah, okay, but still, there's a portion of people that are going to say that, because there's always a portion of people that like to parent you, parenting your kids, which I guess Brandon, you wouldn't know, but as some that post stuff about like my kids, you get that, so I get messages, and I'm like, listen, like I don't care what you think, but. Like when I was a kid, me and my brothers would find we would like play sword fights with like the metal rakes that were like rusty and and it's like like my kids find stuff all over the yard to freaking hit each other with. It's like, hey, if I can make something that's wooden that they can still play and you hear the ding and stuff, and yeah, they might hurt themselves, but that's part of life. They'll help them grow. But like I rounded it. I made sure there was like no really sharp angles to it. I like sanded it a lot. I'm like, all right,
they're definitely safer than what me and my cousins played with.
Exactly.
We're like, oh, look at this super sharp stick that just fell out of the tree. I'm going to use this as a sword.
Yep. I remember, I don't know if I've told this story. My brothers and I, we used to play, my brother Sam and the neighbor kid, Billy, we used to play like Indians or cowboys and Indians and stuff, or cops and robbers, whatever. So we had this long freaking stake, right? And what we do is one of us would be on a bike riding down the street, and they'd have like something, we'd throw it at the other people, and like the Indians would be on the sidewalk, and we'd have to throw a stake at the person, right? Yes, but the goal was to get it in between the spokes of the tires, right?
I was gonna say front tire,
right? Which, like, we never put it together because we never could get it. Like, the timing was always off. Like, to get it actually through the spoke is very hard because you got all the spokes, whatever. We threw it, dude. There was only, let's just say, we played that game a ton. There was only one time that we actually got it, and as soon as that happened, we never played that game again. my friend Billy, I'm glad I wasn't the kid on the bike, dude. He ate so much crap, and if you like the California streets where we grew up, it was not nice pavement. It's basically like glued rock, like
chip
boulders.
seal.
Yep, dude, it's the worst. And so he was just cut up, and we're like, oh, that makes sense. We shouldn't be doing this. But like that compared to like this, it's like, I want my kids to be able to go out, play. If they get hurt, they get bruised. You know what I mean? They'll be fine. They'll grow up. But it's a fun build. They had a blast today, and it was fun building it and filming it. And I was like,
excellent editing, man.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks. Yeah, I'm trying to, that's one thing I want to do this year too, is get better at editing, like transitions and stuff. And putting it to music and things like that.
My goal in 2021 is to get away from hard cuts.
That's me. Dude, I'm hard, and I've gotten really good at like using music with hard cuts to be able to like where it feels a little more natural, like to transitions. But there's some people that I follow that all they do is nothing to do with woodworking. It's just filming, and the way they edit things, and they do like these promo type videos just astounds me. And I'm like, I want to start doing stuff like that for like Reels or TikTok or stuff like, because I think that will go a long way on social media. So hopefully I get that, and that's kind of the goal of this one. We'll see. I gotta do a little bit more editing on it, but it was fun. It's a fun project.
Yeah, it's cool.
Oh, what are you guys doing project-wise for the beginning of this year? You guys have anything lined up?
Yeah, well, see, I've got talking about the tool that you need next. I need a bigger joiner. I've only got a 6-inch joiner, and I need an 8-inch joiner because I have a ton of red oak that is 4 sides rough, so completely rough red oak sitting in my shop right now that I don't want to cut down, and some of it's 8, 10 foot long, so I don't want to put it on a planer sled and run it through my planer because I need to flatten that one side, but I also don't want to cut it down and use on my 6-inch joiner. And I don't know, I was telling my wife today, I was like, I've got to get a new joiner. I've got to get an 8-inch joiner so I can do stuff like that. I got it all sitting there ready to go. I want to build a coffee table for our living room with it, and I want to build a desk for my office as well, but man, I want to get it milled up, but I don't want to cut it down and to 6-inch wide to be able to, or a little bit less than, to get it on my joiner.
You feel like you're just wasting a ton, huh?
Man, I just hate it.
Yeah,
I hate it. And most of the time I've been able to get. I say most of the time I've been able to get by with it for years with that joiner, because most of the time I can hand pick out wood that I know that'll fit on it that I don't have to put waste in. But yeah, man, I've got to get a bigger one now to get into builds like this. I'm almost to the point now where I'm thinking about making like a timber frame coffee table with it, and just hand like using a hand planer or whatever to kind of flatten it all out and just do it really rough but make it look really cool.
You're like, how to build a coffee table with only a hand plane.
Yeah, basically.
That'd get clicks.
Yeah, just use a handsaw and a hand plane. Just get her done.
Did you make like a Viking outfit like Jesse's kids?
Yes, that's right. You should.
And just have Jesse kids come over and fight on top of it, show how strong it is.
Right.
Yeah, there you go.
That's funny. Yeah, I mean, the only things I got planned now is I got a video that's going to come out in a couple weeks. That's like a juice groove jig for cutting boards, like adjustable one. It's the same one. It's basically the same one everybody else uses, but I've been asked so many times, like whenever I show a video using a jig, people are like, "Oh, can you make a video on that?" I'm like, "There's so many." But there's so
I'll watch
many.
that video because I've literally never seen that before. I didn't know that people made adjustable juice groove.
Well, they're not. It's not really adjustable. It's just like the way you put it together.
Yeah.
You can use it on pretty much any size cutting board.
Yeah,
So-
it's cool.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
It's
I've
really
only recently
cool.
started the juice grooving, so
me too. And I actually never built a jig until I built this one for the video. I usually just set up boards for the one board because I don't make
that's what
very
I did
many.
the last 3 times.
Right. I don't make very many cutting boards. So I was like, you know what? It's time to just make one, make a video on it because I keep getting asked, and it should make a good video. Hopefully, we'll see. And then I want to, like I was telling you, JP, I definitely want to make a new drill charging station and what else? Something else. Can't remember what else. Something else. But
Yeah.
I also am gonna goals for the year. My top priority is building a shop or getting a shop built. I'm not doing it, but I'm gonna do definitely if everything goes right, it should be up by summertime. 30 by 60 by 12 foot tall metal
awesome.
shop, and then I want to wall off like I haven't figured out if I want to wall off half of it or like 20 by 30 of it for the wood shop, and then the other side for cars and stuff. Because, dude, I miss building cars so much, and now I have 3 cars that I need to do stuff to, and it's like I need a release that's not woodworking because it's starting to become a job.
Yeah.
Because I do it full time, basically.
I was about to ask you, is that going to be, are you going to film any of that? Or that's just
The car
gonna be
stuff? No.
just enjoyment and not deal with anything.
Yeah, no, I'm not doing that. I mean, I'll do like stories on it if people are interested. And I think I'll probably have like an Instagram for it or do it on my personal Instagram maybe or something. But nothing like YouTube wise. Because
You could
for
make
one,
just
I don't know
like-
what I'm doing half the time.
Yeah.
I'm usually doing like beginner woodworking type thing on the cars. Like, how do I do this? You know, and I want to get into like fabrication a little bit, trying to, you know, make my own stuff, make my own motor mounts and stuff like that when it comes time. But, yeah, it's just that, and I've noticed that a lot of those kind of channels on YouTube just don't get that. Even if they're really good, it's just like they might have like 100,000 subs or something, and they don't get like a ton of views because it's that thing where like people go on to search for how to change an alternator, and then like that's it. You know what I'm saying? So,
But I think so. I think the one thing you could do is like, so it's easy, is do kind of a vlog form where it's just like, here's my update on this is what I'm doing, and it's like you don't
and
actually have to go
there's a lot of
through
channels
steps.
like that too. Yeah.
But like if you do it, what I think would be cool is it's a change up from what you're like just straight woodworking. So a lot of your subscribers and engaged followers might like that because it's more of you and not just straight projects.
Right.
So, or it's a different kind of project. It's kind of a different update. So you kind of dabble in both and lets people kind of, I don't know, get to know you differently. I mean, that's one reason we started the podcast, right? So people can actually.
And I'll definitely do it
talk
on
to
my
us.
stories for sure.
But you could take that and just do like the story version of into a YouTube video and just do quick. They could be like 3 minutes long, you know. I'm just saying.
Yeah,
for,
maybe.
You know, gets you more YouTube videos and more consistent, fill in those, you know, weekly, or if you don't have a project that week.
Right.
I don't know, something.
Yeah, maybe. I kind of want to do something that I don't have to do that with, though.
No, I get it.
I don't want to worry about
I get it.
filming and, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, the vlog style stuff would be cool. Or like just updates or something maybe. We'll see. It's still a ways out.
That's the way hunting and fishing is for me.
Right.
I love hunting and fishing, but it's like my wife's always like, "Why don't you, you know, film that and do stuff?" I'm like, I don't want to. I film everything else and do everything else, and I just want to go sit in a tree stand and sit there in the quiet.
Right. And I did that
and
when
not
I
have to worry
was
about it.
when I bought my bass boat, and I was like, I bought a GoPro and everything, thinking I'd use it in the shop, which I haven't at all. But I used, I took it, got a chest mount and stuff, took it out fishing, you know, talked to the camera like they do on fishing channels. And I'm like, this is kind of cool. And then I did like I didn't even make the videos. I just like filmed twice. And I was like, this sucks. I'm not going to make this part of my, like I don't think the videos would have sucked. I'm just saying doing it sucks. Like I just want to go out there and be quiet and like fish and focus on that and not trying to entertain somebody.
Yeah, I get it. Yeah, I think you suck the enjoyment out of like your getaway from the rest of life because you're like, I'm doing work again. Damn it.
Yeah. I've already taken one of my getaways in woodworking and turned it into another job.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is great, but it's, I like my other stuff too.
Yeah.
But I think that's a good idea. Now, Brandon, you just put on your new website, right? Just got through building your website and got it going?
Yeah, it's garbage. No.
It's not garbage. I thought it was great.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm not happy with it.
I looked at it on my phone. I didn't look at it on the desktop
it's the same thing. I just am not that good at like graphic design and stuff, so it's just basic. But it's there, and I kind of just put it up because my old one was actually getting traffic from somewhere. I'm not sure where. Maybe just Google. I don't know. But a lot of it wasn't working because the guy that I hired to do it flaked out on me, and I haven't heard from him in a year. So a lot of it wasn't working right. And he made my plans, like put them on there and made people pay through like PayPal to get them. And I just wanted them all in one spot. So I just linked to Gumroad, which is where my plans are. And then like, until I start doing blog posts, which I don't even know if I'm going to, I just have it linked, like my projects linked to like my Instructables that I've posted, and then to my YouTube and my plans, and that's about it. So it's pretty simple, to the point, but at least it's kind of a hub where people can go and then kind of branch off wherever they want to go. So
what, if you don't mind me asking, like you say you're just getting some traffic, like what kind of traffic do you get to your website?
I honestly didn't check the traffic numbers. I've noticed like people have been going on there and buying plans more than they were. So I'm like, well, there must be people going there from somewhere, and I don't understand.
Gotcha.
It must just be from Google searches or something. I mean, I do have my website linked, I guess, but I have my plans and stuff.
Well, now that you're using Squarespace, you have the... now you're using Squarespace, you have the analytics now, so you can at least go in and take a look at that and see where it's coming from and all that good stuff.
Yeah. I mean, I do have Google.
I was just curious. I really
Google
don't know.
Analytics, but I just didn't look at them yet.
Yeah.
I don't know when I launched mine, but not to steal any thunder, but
yours is much better.
I'll be honest with you, because you just texted me today. You just texted us, was it today, that you got your new website up, or is it
a couple hours ago?
Yeah, okay, so I haven't looked at it yet, but that's because I don't check our text messages, obviously.
Yeah, we know.
No, I haven't looked at yours yet, but I just launched mine too, and I can't remember if it was before the last podcast and if we've already talked about it, but mine's up too, and basically it's just a hub too, and I have my free plans linked there, and it's very simple, and I don't know. I like it. I like the setup. I think it's got to be. Is your setup pretty close to mine? Like as in the way it's laid out. Well, I have the blog, right? So that's the one thing you said. You're like, I'm not sure if I'm gonna do the blog.
Right.
My blog, if you actually look at mine, it's very simple. It has a couple photos of the finished product of whatever it is.
And if I do one, it will be like that.
Yeah, I try not to like spend a bunch of time on it, but what I kind of do is say, hey, here's the project, here's a photo of the project, here's the tools needed at the bare minimum to complete the project, and it's like just kind of a quick excerpt if there's any tips that I didn't put in the video or whatever, but it's just very quick, and then it says here's the full video, watch below, and then here's the free plans, click here, and then people can just download it from the Google Drive that I have set up that anybody can download them from.
Yeah, that's cool. I've been wanting to do that, but I just, if we're being realistic, I don't want to. Like, it doesn't sound like fun at all.
You're saying the blog post?
Yeah. It would just be such a chore for me. Like, I don't enjoy that at all. And
I don't enjoy it. Yeah. I don't do it because I enjoy it.
Well, there's people out there that love doing it. You know,
my wife. Yeah.
Yeah.
She likes
like
doing stuff
Sam,
like that.
DIY Huntress, and like Tamar and all them, they love doing that stuff. And it's like, and even talking to like people that have high traffic blogs, it's kind of like old school, you know, which that's kind of where all of this influencer stuff started, was blogs, you know, back in the day.
It's kind of like writing in a diary for a lot of people.
Right.
Like if you read some of these blogs, it's a lot of fluff where it's like, I don't need to know any of this for like project based wise. But
they
that's
build
why,
really engaging communities like
that's why it's because it's like a diary. And so you get to know a lot of the people. You get to see, like, they tell you a lot of behind the scenes stuff, family stuff, all this other things. And maybe it is the way to go, but the time for that is very high.
Well, that's what I'm saying. The only reason I would do it is for basically monetary value, like to make more money or like, you know, offer more to brands and stuff. But the more people I talk to, they're like, now, like, that was a huge thing like even a year ago, but nowadays the brands and stuff are like, okay, if you want to like add it in the package, that's fine. But they're not like paying for that. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, why spend the time if it's not something I enjoy, if it's not going to pay off, you know? I could spend my time doing something else that would be more valuable, I think. But if it's something you like to do, I mean, by all means. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I find it a pain in the butt, but I probably got 11 or 12 of them on my website. But I use mine as the free plans, basically, for each one of my bills that I want to do plans for. They're
yours is like an instructable kind of thing. Exactly.
I'm molding pretty much exactly like how instructables are. A photograph description of what to do next, you know, photograph descriptions, you know, and then it's got cut lists and all that stuff in there and links. Because I'm not good at it. I don't know how to do the SketchUp stuff like you guys do, or the Shaper 3D stuff or whatever. I don't have those kind of things in my website. The only things that I have is the ones that I have for sale, where I've paid people to make those, you know, files for me, and then I sell those plans. Which is a completely different thing. You could just
take pictures of your notepad in the different stages and then upload the pictures, or scan them in on your printer. I'm saying,
this is so true.
It's just like a yellow piece of paper with like half sketches. It's like,
a legal pad.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
It's from like some pest control service.
If you look at my original sketches and plans versus what the end game is, everybody would think I was an idiot.
You're like,
it's not even on graph paper.
Oh, half of it's wrong. It's like half the measurements are not right. It's not until I start actually building. I'm like, God, I didn't even like account for the makeup here. What am I doing? I have to erase it and put the right one in. And you know, mine's always kind of do as I go kind of thing. But that's how I kind of use mine. They're not fun to do. They don't take that long. It's just one of those things. I'm like, I'm not even sure it's paying off, but I don't know. I get probably a little over 3,000 page views every 2 weeks on my website. I don't know if that's good or bad. I have absolutely no clue. I just know that many people go to my website. But that's all I know. So I don't know. I should look into it more. I have the website. It's there. I try to keep it updated with all my stuff. It is a place where you can go and find all the things, you know, about me and the latest YouTube videos and stuff. But I don't know. That's why I was asking. I'm just curious. I didn't know how everybody else's is going. I know you guys just got y'all's 2 new sites up, which I think they look really good, by the way.
Thanks.
And they're easy to navigate.
Yeah. The biggest thing I started to notice, especially that made me want to get a new site, it's like I keep getting an influx of people sending me emails through my website. And like, I don't really get a ton of traffic. I didn't really have anything on my old site. And I was like, I need to do this better, because it'll just get mixed. Those messages just get mixed up with all my other emails. And I was like, I need to figure this out so I can actually respond to people. And I think that's how I can get that more engaged audience. I started getting a lot of emails, which is cool. Not like within the new site, but the old site, which I had linked to a few of my plans on the other one. And people were like sending me emails with their finished photos of the plans, like they built it, and they were like, hey, this is something I built, thanks for doing the plans, this was awesome. And that's better than anything else, because like, cool, like actually, like I spent a ton of time on that. The fact that I actually helped you get started in your first project or whatever it is, because my projects are pretty easy. And if you haven't seen my plans, like there's some really when it comes to like the high level woodworking stuff, like Woodshop Mike makes amazing, like gorgeous looking plans. those aren't my plans. My plans are very rudimentary, but for somebody that's just starting out, like if somebody just starting out looked at Mike's plans, they'd be like, I give up.
Right.
Like that's my point. Like when I saw
engineered.
Very, very engineer based. And I was like, nah, that's when I was starting out, that's not for me, because that's not how my head works. I was like, I'm going to make it very, very simple with very like simple graphics and descriptions. And then you use that with my video and you can build it no problem. And that's how I go about it, because I'm not doing this super, super complicated stuff, you know? But it seems to be working. I've been getting a lot of emails, and so it's been nice. I love getting those emails from people who are tagged in photos and stuff. And I think that's probably why I'll keep most of my plans free, unless I do something super, super complicated where it's like taking a ton of my time, and I'm like, I need to charge for this just to recoup some.
You know what's weird is the most feedback I've got, not feedback, but like people that actually build stuff and post it have come through Facebook, which is super weird.
Oh, it's interesting.
Like, I don't know if like they got it from Facebook or they're just messaging me on Facebook because they don't have on Instagram, or wow, it's weird. Yeah. But I swear, like I've seen like probably 5 people build my assembly table, and 4 out of the 5 I only knew about because they messaged me on Facebook, which is weird. Strange. Yeah.
And it's like, where did you find me?
Right. Well, like, I'm assuming my Facebook's from so YouTube.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah.
Maybe they only have Facebook and not Instagram. I don't know.
Yeah.
It's weird.
No, I get all of mine on Instagram.
Yeah, that's where I get mine, through email or Instagram usually.
Yeah, I've gotten emails from, if it's about my plans, I get an email.
Yeah.
Usually. Which is probably because my emails are on the plans.
I assume your goal this year, Brandon, is to hit 100,000 on YouTube, right? Like
that'd
minimum.
Be cool. Yeah.
Yeah. I assume. I have a feeling you're going to get there by like summer.
Yeah, really if I continue on the pace I am, which I plan to, I feel like that's a reasonable thing. By
I think
summer.
JP can easily get to like 50.
Oh yeah,
that'd be like conservative for your goal,
especially if he keeps doing those kind of videos.
Yeah,
I'm hoping,
1,000 a day. I'm jealous.
I'm hoping to get to 25. That's my goal for this year. Because, well, actually, my goal last year was by the end of the year to get to 10, and I'm at 8.3 right now or something like that. So I got close.
Failed.
Yeah, I failed. I got close. Yeah. But like at the beginning of last year, it was like, you know, like saying I was going to go to the gym. I was like, I'm going to post once a week to YouTube. Dude, I post maybe once a month. Yeah. You know, this
once
series
a week is so hard.
Well, yeah, I know.
If you're doing projects.
Yeah. And so it's like, okay, I got to, you know, but with this whole year is going to be completely different. My brother's coming out and he's moving out in the next couple of months. He's going to be helping me pretty much full time in the shop, being my cameraman, editor, and it's going to be fantastic.
Mm-hmm.
So
it's a huge plus.
Oh, dude. Like, that's what we were talking. Like, yeah, I mean, you guys know. Doing a freaking project takes 3 to 4 times as long. Yeah. If you count in the editing, too, at the end, 3 to 4 times as long as a normal project.
And there's no way you're going to get as good of footage as if somebody that knows how to use a camera is following you around.
Exactly. And he's very good at that stuff. I mean, he's gone to school for it. He's just great. And so, and he's he's the type of guy that you can ask him anything like about cameras, and like, it doesn't matter what camera it is. He's like, oh yeah, I've researched this. And he'll just like, and it's like, I don't like, that's what he enjoys, is researching stuff.
Right.
I'm like, that's not me.
Yeah.
And so,
well, also I enjoy, when it's somebody else filming and it's not on a tripod, because it feels like you're in the shop with that person.
Yep.
I enjoy like as the camera moves kind of thing.
Right.
Yep.
Versus just the standard, you know, on the, like I film because it's on a freaking tripod and I can't do anything else with it.
Right.
But I like that, Jesse. I think it's going to work out really well for you.
Yeah.
That's one thing I like about John Malecki's stuff.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Is that he has? Is it Sam? Isn't it Sam?
Well,
Sam's.
I think apparently
that's funny. His name.
I mean, he has Sam, but I think he has another guy as well, and then somebody else now edits all of it. Not Sam anymore.
Dude, it's fantastic. But like, it feels professional. It feels real.
Dude,
it feels
so good.
And so it's like, for me, that whole next level, the speed of the projects is going to be faster. The things I get to do is going to be faster. Like even the things I was editing today, right? Like, or I sent you guys with my kids and filming that stuff. With Sam, it'll like, so Sam's my brother. We just talked about John, like Kevin, Sam. I'm going to have a Sam. And he's going to be able to we'll have 2 cameras at the same time, or I'll be able to be in the frame without, it's just going to be the world of difference. And the style of videos is going to change, and the editing is going to be different. I kind of really plan on revamping my whole page instead of just being just a project based.
It's going to be game changing for sure.
I hope so. I really hope it changes my engagement a lot. Like you start to get more people that are more invested. So we'll see. I'm excited. Here's a goal actually that I've been talking to my wife for a few years but I've wanted to start a charity like for a long time and figure out some way to give back and be able to like just, I don't know, do something really cool for the people in the community or different things. So I think that's one goal by the end of the year, to kind of start that and use my platform and my relationship with these sponsors, which the sponsors are always like, I've been working with companies for a while now. They love the giving back portion if you have any of that, right? And so it's like, I feel like with the position I have, I can be able to like give back even more and actually be able to do stuff. So I want to either build stuff for people in the community, like people that are down on their luck or like lost a job because of COVID or whatever it is, and start doing things like that this year. So that's kind of been a faraway goal, and I feel like I'm even closer to that, where I'm kind of nailed down by the end of the year. I want to start doing those projects, which I think it'll be quicker than that. But start figuring out something to do. I don't know officially what I want to do yet, but something like that would be fun.
That'd be cool. I have a goal for you to do.
For me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Fix your freaking light switch.
No, that's never gonna happen. I'm gonna put trim upon this, and it's gonna throw that, and it's gonna look even worse. And
dude,
I'm just
like some neon colored trim.
I think the listeners we do have would appreciate this goal. Hey, Brandon, how about you post more on our podcast Instagram more than once a week? How about that, Brandon? Skip. We're gonna start throwing haymakers over here.
Well, let's be honest. We did put it on the guy who has at least 6 different Instagrams, a couple different YouTubes.
That's true.
Accurate.
Yeah.
I'll try.
Let's give it to JP, because you're talking about somebody else that has that many as well. You're the only person in this group that doesn't
Mullen
have
has way more.
So don't even.
I have trouble managing my own boys.
I know. Yeah. I know. Anyway. Well, that's an hour, boys. So Happy New Year, 2021. Can't be worse than 2020.
Yep. Happy New Year, everyone.
Knock on wood.
Don't say that.
Yeah. Sorry. Knock
Told
on
you not
wood.
to touch anything.
Thank you.
I've used that saying so many times.
I know, so have I. I've quoted it. Everyone's like, that's really funny. I'm like, yeah, I came up with it. Yeah. Thank you, Merca, for us being today's sponsor. Thank you guys for listening. Make sure you follow us on all social media, the podcast, YouTube. Subscribe over there. Review us on iTunes, because that actually does matter. So if you haven't yet, please do that. Thanks for watching, guys. Go build something.
I got a lot of comments in that video already about people enjoyed just seeing that, realization of a safety issue and then changing it. And so I think that really did good.